Hi friends, it's Carly and I'm back again with another review. So after I looked at Miles Morales, everybody spoke and the consensus was broad. The next figure that we're going to look at is based on what you guys asked me to do, so we're going to get right into that in a second. I just want to remind everybody that if you want to know when my videos are coming out, please be sure to be subscribed to my channel, make sure your notification bells are turned on, and I put up announcements every time that I'm posting a video on my Annoying You with Friendship Facebook page, which you can find at Annoying Car, and over on Instagram at Your Annoying Friend Car with underscores between all the words. So with all of that housekeeping stuff out of the way, we are ready now to take a look at one of the most fun action figures I've had in a while, the movie Venom. So I am not going to give anybody their history on Eddie Brock. I think that we're all pretty well storied, and obviously, if you wanted to see this figure, you saw the movie. So we're just going to talk about the figure itself because there is a lot going on here and it's a lot worth mentioning. So let's just take a close look at him. The first thing that I noticed about this figure was his height. So normally when we have a sort of bulkier figure, we're getting most of the bulk in the upper body portion, and we have that here, but this is a tall figure. So he has these really incredibly long legs. It just makes him really impressive looking, aside from just being, you know, the huge upper body figure is cool. It's a fun thing to have in your collection. We've had all sorts of sort of weird combinations of that recently. We're about to look at Venom Pool that's sort of similar to that. We had Sugar Man, who was a very strange all-head version of a giant upper body. But this is different. He's much more proportionate, and we're getting height and not necessarily a disproportionate bulk, which I think is a really impressive look, and it really captures the way that Venom was presented in the movie perfectly. So when we're looking at the design of the paintwork and everything, it's really not much going on there, which again, I think is very true to the movie. They didn't go over the top with a lot of, you know, sort of crazy things going on his, you know, body. So we're just getting like a few veins that are in contrast to the black suit. This isn't exactly matte and it's not exactly gloss. So I actually like that because it has a really cool like skin vibe to it. And the sculpting, again, these figures, all of them are incredibly vascular. So that's where most of the sculpting lies. When we're looking at like the muscles of his back and shoulders, there's just this vascular thing going on, which is really cool. It makes him look really, really strong. And of course we have his crazy tongue sculpt that we're seeing with, you know, this will be now the second figure in this series that has a really crazy tongue. The first one being Ghost Spider, but this is what we came for. So I am just super stoked about the look of him. Again, I can't really say enough about the height. It's so impressive. And he's not like a crazy heavy figure. He, it feels natural. Like he's just really well balanced. Let's look at the accessories that he comes with. So he comes with 2 sets of hands. He's got an open sort of clawing hand like this, and a set of fist hands. I just went ahead and put one of each on so we could look at those easily. And then he's got his tongue head, which we're going to leave on for articulation, and a grinning head, which I like. I feel like the style and the paintwork on these heads is very comic book to me, which I really appreciate seeing that in a cinematic version of a character, that it reads the way that the character was drawn. And this Venom really does for me. He looks, you know, just like he did in the comics. So that is a really great tribute that we don't often see when we get movie versions of our characters. There always seems to be some need to, I don't know, to spice them up or change them up a little bit for the movies. But this I can appreciate because it is 100% true to the movie version. The figure here is, and the movie version was really spot on to the comic version. So I'm really stoked about the design of this character. Now what I really want to get into is the articulation, you guys. This is one of the most exciting articulate figures I've had in a long time. And I know that sounds kind of funny to be excited about, but not for us, because when you play with your toys or photograph your toys, you want everything to work. And I have not had a figure like this yet. So the head is fine. Everything is great. Obviously with the tongue, you're going to get some issues. He does have that really high, neck up here. So you're not getting a lot of forward and back because his whole stance is really sort of a downward look, which is just the way that the character is designed. So I have no problems with that. I'm flying over these first two because I'm really excited about the torso. So the shoulders are great. We have a full 360-degree range here, a great lift. The biceps are fantastic. And again, just sort of like keep an eye on the sculpting because it's really, it's just really nice looking. Vascular, which sometimes it bugs me. It depends on the character, but for these sort of venomized characters or symbiote characters, I feel like it really captures what's going on with the host and the symbiote to have them be really vascular like that, to sort of, it sort of externalizes maybe the struggle between host and symbiote, and I just think it's a really smart artistic choice, and it's something that they used in the comics, so I'm appreciative of that. The elbows are great. Again, with these clawed hands, we're getting this really just like buttery smooth, easy to use motion in the wrists, which I really, really love. And now let's get to the torso. So this figure, as I said, he's very tall. You can see that. He has every component of a torso that I have seen on a Marvel Legends figure is on this character. On this figure. So the top portion of his body, he has what we normally see not exclusively, but what we see on the smaller framed characters, where we have a rock and tilt up here, where we're getting a turning here in the top portion of the abdomen. This one works incredibly well, perfectly, I would say. The movement that you're getting turning side to side is excellent. So this is what we get on smaller framed characters in lieu of a waist. But this one works outstandingly. We're not getting a ton of negative space. Actually, we're not getting any negative space here when we're bending this area back. And you kind of get a pass on that with a black character. When it's all black everything, if there's a little bit of negative space, it's not going to stand out as much. So it just works so well and looks so daggum good. And then we also have an ab crunch here. So he has got a really great forward motion and a really great backward motion, and just the flexibility of things to do in the torso. I mean, maybe I have a couple of figures that do that. I might have a couple of figures that have the mechanic, but now that I'm thinking, I think maybe Rage did, but he is a very broad, bulky character, so what you're missing then is the ability to really turn this top portion of the torso. I know for a fact that I've never had one that works this smoothly, and I really could not be happier with it. The amount of flexibility and opportunity to do interesting things with this upper body is above and beyond. Not to mention with his really long limbs, his really long legs. It's just such a good looking, striking figure. I'm getting more excited as I'm talking about him. He's just so well executed. We have a really great lateral lift, and then obviously a flexibility in the thighs to get great poses there. We have the thigh turn, which is a little bit stiff, but I mean, it works. That's all that really matters. We've got a great bend in the knee, which is not obstructed by any of his musculature there. He does not have a calf turn, which you guys know I'm never bothered by. Some people get bothered by it. I prefer the more natural movement of the thigh that you would use to turn your foot out. That makes actual anatomical sense, but some people really like that calf turn. This guy doesn't have it though, so I'm fine with that. If you love the calf turn, you might be a little disappointed. And then he's got those strange feet again. So these feet are not exactly as bad as Miles is because they do have a click. You can get a little bit of a point in the toe. Actually, you can get a really good one. With Miles, we couldn't get any. This one is actually fine. I still don't like these weird rocking feet with, I don't know. These aren't my favorite feet and ankles, but this one at least functions. Again, a pointing toe with any of these like spider or symbiote characters particularly are very flexible and have a lot of different abilities that involve being able to move really acrobatically. You've got to have a pointed toe for that. So this one works, which is great. I was nervous for a second. I thought that he might not after Miles, but this one is really good. So literally from top to bottom, you guys, I have no complaints, zero complaints about anything about this figure. He is a stunning version of the cinematic character that we saw in the movie. Tom Hardy's performance in that was so good. I mean, if you're not behind Tom Hardy, then I don't even know what you're doing, but his performance in Venom was really, really good. I recently read that the second version, or the sequel to the movie is coming up, so I'm really excited about that. And I really just hope they stick with aesthetic so that we can maybe get some more cinematic versions of our favorite characters that are a little bit more true to the comic book, which we don't see very often. And with this one, we definitely are. This might be one of my favorite figures of the year, honestly. I just can't think of anything bad to say about him. His proportions are gorgeous. His entire articulate system works perfectly. You know, I have no issues on the paintwork. I love the sparse paintwork and the really true to comic book design work and look of his face. You know, that's what happened in the movie, and they really kept it true to form with this figure. I just couldn't really be happier. Let's take another look at this grinning head here. And it just feels like he's right out of the pages of one of, you know, the comic books. It's just stunning with all of those rows of teeth. And yeah, it's just a phenomenal figure, and I'm really, really, really happy to have him. You guys, it was a great suggestion to go on to this one next, because after the first two, which you guys know that I liked, but, you know, there's things with them. This is a huge leap forward. Again, all of them I'm going to want on my shelf. You can see I've already got Miles and Ghost Spider up there. And I think, like I said before, that as a group, they're going to be really cohesive together. So even if some of the figures aren't quite as strong as what they're supposed to be, or quite as strong overall as a Marvel Legends figure, I think that the look of these symbiote characters is so striking that they'll look really great on the shelf together. But this Venom is definitely the highlight so far. So I've looked at the remaining two figures that I have that are a part of this sort of Venomized category, and I feel like we might have just hit the highlight, which I hope I didn't do too early. But it was a great suggestion to look at this guy next to you guys. I think that if you haven't found him yet, you need to look. You need to track this guy down, because there just isn't anything bad to say about him. He's one of the best figures I've seen in a really long time, and I'm so, so glad to have him. So that is that on Eddie Brock. It looks like we really sort of hit the jackpot on every note with this figure, and I want to hear what you guys think. If you haven't found him yet, I know that he's turning up I think in Targets and maybe Walmarts too. I don't think he was exclusive anywhere, so keep your eyes peeled. Talk to your friends, see if somebody can hunt for you, because you want to have this guy. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Let me know what you'd like to see me do next. I'm going out of town, so I'm kind of like making my videos a little bit early. But if you guys let me know in the comments what you want to see, I'll try to post in that order. And we are just getting through these. They're so much fun. I'm really, really glad I got my hands on this guy, and I think that you guys should too. Let me know what you're thinking, and I will be back in a day and a half with another one. If you guys let me know what you want to see, I'll do it. If not, I already have one ready to go, and I'm really excited about it as well. I'm really appreciative of all your guys' interactions with my content, and just let me know what you want to see. I'll do it, and as long as you keep watching them, I will keep making them. Thank you so much for being here. Bye, friends.